Boris Johnson overruled scientists who told him to introduce a lockdown 3 weeks ago, while ignoring warnings that his plans won't stop the coronavirus.
Here's a summary of the article.
Boris Johnson ignored advice to introduce a second national lockdown 3 weeks ago, according to newly published documents which illustrate an extraordinary spat between ministers and the scientists who advise them. The Scientific Advisory Group for Emergencies advised the Prime Minister to introduce a raft of measures to try and contain the rate of COVID-19 transmissions in a Zoom meeting 3 weeks ago. Boris Johnson reportedly sided with hawks in his cabinet, including Chancellor Rishi Sunak, and refused to consider the measures because he feared the damage they would do to the economy. The Prime Minister instead on Monday announced a three-tier system of local lockdowns, where areas which faced the highest incidence rate of COVID-19 would face the harshest measures. The extraordinary rift between Johnson and his team of scientific advisers was illustrated at Monday's Downing Street press conference, where Johnson and Chris Whitty, the chief medical officer, were explaining the new three-tier lockdown system. Robert Jenrick, the housing minister, dismissed claims the measures were not robust enough but said council should show leadership by introducing stricter measures. In another document which could prove highly damaging to the government, the SAGE group of scientists said that the £12 billion test and trace program, which Johnson has described as world-beating, is having only a marginal impact on reducing the spread of the virus because it is not tracing enough people, and many of those contacted are simply ignoring advice to self-isolate.
This post received a score of 33,000, with an upvote ratio of 91%. Here are the top comments in response to this article.
His last plan nearly killed him. Although he grew a little wiser, apparently not. Any man is liable to err, only a fool persists in error. Marcus Cicero.
There's an old saying in Tennessee, I know it's in Texas, probably in Tennessee, that says, fool me once, shame on you. Fool me, you can't get fooled again. George W. Bush.
Someone once said he did that off-the-cuff alteration to avoid a clip of him saying, shame on me, existing.
Yeah, the moment he started saying the phrase, you could see him wince because someone was yelling in his ear.
I've heard that explanation before, but I'm not convinced considering he starts the sentence by mumbling about Texas and Tennessee. Plus his numerous other gaffes. Sometimes people just forget things, like when Rick Perry forgot which departments he wanted to eliminate despite it being central to his campaign.
And the one he forgot was the one that manages our fucking nuclear weapons.
Which he was later appointed the head of.
That will learn em good.
Didn't this guy almost die of COVID-19? You'd think even that would make him more empathetic. Nope.
He looks weak, sounds weak, he's about to get the boot, and the only reason he's still functioning is because of Cummings' fist firmly planted up his ass. Once the transition period, Brexit, is over and the disastrous fallout becomes apparent to even the most die-hard dullard, Boris will be gone, and that, along with the appalling reactionary response to COVID, will all be blamed on him and the EU OFC. Unfortunately Gove is the next in line and he's a Murdoch sycophant, we're doomed.
Greater than unfortunately Gove is the next in line and he's a Murdoch sycophant, oh no. I wish you good fortune in the wars to come. Is Gove not just completely unelectable though? I mean, old people love Boris because they fall for the whole cheery chubby-cheeked exterior. I don't think I've ever heard anyone mention Gove positively. He has the charisma of a worm.
Their modus operandi is to change leaders every few years and pretend that it's an entirely different government with different values. They'll find another puppet come election time OFC. They really are struggling with amenable candidates though. Having said that they're very good at politicking, I just wish they were as good at governance.
Greater than their modus operandi is to change leaders every few years and pretend that it's an entirely different government with different values. Sounds like my government, just change years to months.
This video was automatically created by Reddit to speech. The article and comments in this video were selected from Reddit according to their upvotes, and any paraphrasing was performed by smmry.com, without any human intervention.